healthy love should not feel like emotional labor every single day. You should not have to rehearse conversations in your head. What am I going to say today? How am I going to say this to him? You shouldn't have to shrink your truth to keep the peace. You shouldn't have to even monitor people's moods just to feel okay. Welcome to the Rise and Rebuild podcast, where we break unhealthy cycles, heal what still hurts, and rebuild. If you're a woman of color, a firstborn daughter, a single woman, or a single mother, this is your space to finally breathe again. Hey friend, welcome back to another episode of the Rise and Rebuild podcast. I am your host, Lydia, and I am so glad you tuned in today. Happy Wednesday, you all, or whatever day it is that you're listening to this episode. I am so glad you tuned in today, my friend. Welcome home. If this is your first time, welcome. This is your space to break, heal, and rebuild. This is where we rise and rebuild our lives. Some housekeeping, ladies. Thank you for subscribing. As usual, if you haven't, hit that like and subscribe button. Go to Spotify, go to YouTube, go to Apple if you're using Apple, and like our podcast. So today's episode is for the woman who is just standing at a crossroad, wondering whether she should leave a relationship that's no longer working or stay. Well, obviously, disclaimer, that's a very personal choice that I, Lydia, cannot help you decide whether to leave or stay. I'm not inside your relationship, so I don't know. I'm not here to play God in your life. But what I can do for you today, my friend, is give you some pointers that will help you make that decision. What I can do is help you slow down, get honest, and ask yourself the kind of questions that will lead to clarity instead of confusion. Because most of the time, the decision to leave or stay usually doesn't come when things are very bad. That decision usually comes when the storm has passed by. It comes when the things are almost good enough, when you're still in love, when there's still some history, when there are children involved, and honestly, sometimes when there's still hope for the relationship. And that is what makes this decision even much heavier to make. And I can tell you for a fact, this is one of the hardest decisions you ever make as a woman who is in love. And yet, that same love is not landing as you would like it to, if that's making sense. You'll find asking yourself, should I stay? Should I walk away? We have a history with this man. When that love is still present and clearly there's no peace here, this is not working anymore, because loving someone doesn't automatically mean that you staying is right. You can love them and still want to walk away. And walking away doesn't mean that you do not love them or that love wasn't real or wasn't there. So now I want you to look at it this way. The question isn't, do I love them? Because I know you do. But now the question is this relationship helping me become who I'm supposed to be, or become whole, or teaching me how to survive? That is now the question you should be asking yourself as we deep dive into this conversation. And so if you're listening and you are on the crossroads of, I don't know if I should stay or go, I want you to hear me. As I've said, you can love someone deeply and still be very misaligned with them, emotionally, spiritually, physically, everything. You can love someone and still feel like that relationship is always putting you on the edge. Because love alone, honestly, does not sustain a relationship. I know love covers a multitude of sin. But sometimes in relationship, safety does, consistency does, respect does, shared values do. So today is not about you reacting or overreacting. It's about you discerning and you being honest with yourself and your situation by asking yourself pertinent questions to help you gain clarity. So I'm going to give you a couple of questions that you can start with so that you get that clarity that you need. But I'm not here to tell you whether to stay or leave, okay? That's on you. Question 1, ask yourself, am I growing or shrinking in this relationship? Don't ask yourself if you're happy every day. Happiness, my husband likes to say, it's a feeling. And your spouse cannot make you happy if you're not happy with yourself. So ask yourself, am I more of myself in this relationship or less? Do I speak more freely or more carefully? Do I expand or shrink or constantly adjusting myself to keep the peace? Who am I becoming in this relationship? What parts of myself am I losing or toning down in this relationship? Do I feel more grounded or more guarded? Because a healthy love, yes, it will stretch you, but it will not erase who you are. So if you start to notice you're slowly becoming more quiet, more smaller, more anxious, more doubtful, then that's data. That is information that will help you get the clarity you need whether to stay or leave. Question 2, is this situational or is it a pattern? Whatever is happening, is this just a season? Because every relationship goes through seasons. There's stress, there's transition, there's conflict, there's growth going on. But if it's a pattern, then there's a truth we are getting to. Ask yourself, has this same pattern or issue come up again and again and again? If it is unfaithfulness, is this a pattern or is it just situational? Have we had these conversations before? Or have conversations led to change before? Or just apologies? The best apology is changed behavior. So ask yourself, do you keep repeating or revisiting the same pain with new hope each time? If something has been named before, if we've discussed it before, you've prayed over it, you've cried over it, and nothing has shifted in the relationship, it is now a pattern. It is now a cycle. And cycles do not just break by themselves. You have to take action. So ask yourself, what pattern keeps repeating here? Is it conflict, then calm, then conflict again? Is it a promise? Then the effort for a short time is put in, then back again to the same thing? Is it unfaithfulness, forgiveness, then back again to the unfaithfulness? Is it you explaining your pain yourself over and over again, just in different words? It's exhausting. Ask yourself, what are you calling patience, or you're patient with them, that might actually be you avoiding naming the pattern itself that keeps on repeating in this relationship? Are you avoiding a hard conversation? Are you avoiding a hard truth? Are you avoiding to face the decision that you need to face? Do not rush yourself. Think through this. If nothing changed, ask yourself, if things stayed the same as they are right now, can I live with this long term? Because sometimes clarity doesn't come from asking, can this get better? But it comes from you asking, can I accept this situation as it is if things never ever change? Can you accept and live with it? Think through that and answer yourself. The answer, you know that. The third question, do you feel emotionally safe in your relationship? And physically safe. But first, emotionally safety matters more than you even think. Emotionally safe means, are you able to express your needs without being punished for expressing them? Are you able to disagree without fear of retribution? Are you able to rest without managing people's emotions? Are you constantly bracing yourself, choosing your words carefully, preparing for how people will react, walking on eggshells? Then that's your cue. That's your information right there. That's your data. Because love, healthy love, should not feel like emotional labor every single day. You should not have to rehearse conversations in your head. What am I going to say today? How am I going to say this to him? You shouldn't have to shrink your truth to keep the peace. You shouldn't have to even monitor people's moods just to feel okay. So really reflect on this and ask yourself, can I be honest around here without fear? When I speak up, what happens? Do I get listened to or dismissed? Do things get resolved or turned back on me? Because there are people that know how to twist things around. Do you feel understood, or you're made to feel too much? Also, pay attention to your body. Let me tell you, one of the things you can know that something is off is your body. Our bodies tell us sometimes what our minds or heart know already, but we don't want to admit it. Think and feel your body. Do you feel calm or tensed around them? Do you feel settled or scared? Are you always on high red alert around them? Because emotional safety is not just about not having conflict, it's also about knowing you can be yourself through that conflict without fear of backlash, without silence, without people withdrawing on you. And so if you're being honest and you feel like you cannot be yourself around them, that's your cue right there. Okay? Question 4. Ask yourself, Are you staying because of love or because of fear? Let us get honest. Sometimes fear sounds like, what if I never find better? What if, all men are the same? It rains everywhere. All men cheat. What if I'm wrong? What will people say? That statement has killed so many people. What if I mess my kids? Because that's a big one. That's a scare. And it's real. You can mess them, yes. But if the main thing keeping you there is fear of loss, loneliness, or regret or shame, or what people will say, then I want you, my sister, to pause right there. That is survival trying to negotiate its way in your life. Can you just get honest without fear being the loudest voice in the room? Ask yourself, what are you afraid of will happen if you leave? What are you afraid of will happen if you stay? Which fear is louder? Is it the fear of being alone or fear of losing yourself? Which one is louder? You see, love, even when it's hard, should bring you some peace, some clarity, some steadiness, not constant anxiety. So ask yourself, are you staying because of fear of loss of love? And the final and fifth question, ask yourself, is this relationship aligned with the life I'm trying to build or with the life we are trying to build? This one is about the future, not potential, not promises, but direction. Where are you going? Do you have a purpose? Does the relationship serve any purpose? What is your vision? A relationship is like a company you're running. What is the mission statement? What is your vision for that relationship? When you think about your future, your purpose, your peace together, your values, your faith, your children, your calling, everything, does this relationship move you towards that or away from it? Does this relationship move you towards your faith if you're a believer? Are you growing into the version of yourself you've been praying to become? And is he also doing the same? Or are you just constantly managing what you can't change? Are you building with this person or are you the one carrying the relationship alone? Women, we need to get honest and truthful about that because you have to be aligned, not perfect, aligned together and have a direction in the relationship. So ask yourself, if I stay on this path for the next 5 years, will you recognize yourself? Will you be living your truth? Will you be more at peace? Will you be stewarding the gifts that God has given you? Will this relationship be serving its purpose? Because a love that is not aligned doesn't serve you or serve God at all. Ask yourself if this makes sense for the life you're trying to build together. And if this relationship is keeping you disconnected from your future self, from the God who created you, that is something you're allowed to listen to as well. If it is making you a worse person than you are, reflect on that. That is your cue there. So after sitting with these questions, those are the 5 questions I want you to ask yourself. I also want you to acknowledge this. Not every hard season means you have to leave. No, relationships go through seasons. Sometimes the work isn't about going. Sometimes breaking the cycles, hear me, believe it or not, is about you staying and discerning what kind of hard you're in and still choosing to stay. Staying may be right if what you're facing is just growth, not neglect, not people not doing what they need to do. You're just the growing pains of a relationship. Any relationship goes through growth. There's some growing pains. So in those cases, staying may be right. If there's accountability for mistakes made, not people being defensive, apologizing and still making the changes, there's effort, not just words. You see action, not just apologies, as I've said. There's humility in the relationship from both sides, not people shifting blame. Then you can stay. If there's growth, there's no stagnation. If things are moving in the direction they should move, if the relationship is serving your purpose and the purpose that God put you together, then in this case, I think staying may actually be the wiser choice. But on the flip side, there are moments when going becomes the wise decision. Walking away may be actually necessary when disrespect now has become the norm in the relationship. Mistrust, boundaries are ignored, there's physical harm, and I have to say that. You're doing all the work by yourself. You're just the only one holding the relationship. You're constantly explaining basic needs. You are always tense. If you've worked through healing, therapy, and all that, you keep hoping the relationship will become something it has consistently shown you it's not. Hope is powerful. Hope is good. But without evidence, hope will keep you stuck in pain. So yes, the choice is yours. Consult with God. As I said, I'm not here to play God in your life. God alone knows when to stay, when to leave. But now that the choice is yours, as you consult with God, you will make an informed choice. Because the hardest truth is this: love does not obligate you to endure abuse. Let me add that. You should not endure abuse for the sake of love. You're allowed to want a love that is peaceful, that is safe. You're allowed to walk away even when you still care for someone, but that someone is not healthy for you, especially when it is harmful, when they are hurting you. For the woman of faith, I want you to hear this. God does not require you to stay where you're emotionally unsafe, physically unsafe, unseen, or shrinking. He's the God that sees you. And God is not glorified by you being in such relationships where you always have to live in anxiety. He desires fullness of life for you. And that is why it's important to involve Him when you're choosing this life partner. Listen to Him. Listen to yourself. Listen to the God-given intuition as you choose. But now that you're here, I want you to know He doesn't hold anything against you. He wants you to live and live a good life. So tell yourself the truth. Consult with God. Go through the 5 questions and ask yourself those questions and reflect deeply on them. Once you get clear on that, you will know what's the best thing to do next for you. My role here is not to tell you whether to stay or leave, but to guide you in making the right choices for your life in partnership with God. All right? You've got this. If you're going through a hard season, hang in there. You've got this. If it's a harmful relationship, physically harmful, I need you to get out. That one, get out. I'll tell you. We'll talk to God about it if you're so afraid of what God thinks. I don't think God wants us to be physically harmed in relationship. If it's a physical relationship where you are receiving the pain of beatings, I need you to get out of the relationship. But ask yourself those 5 questions and you'll get the clarity. And I want to extend compassion because it's not easy, I know, to live long-term relationships. So extend yourself grace. But when you get the clarity and when the time is right, you'll make the right choices. I love you deeply, sis. Take care of yourself. Until next time, I'll talk to you in the next episode. Bye-bye.